UFC Fight Night Vegas 71, Jan versus Dvalishvili took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main events, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelim opener of Carlston Harris versus Jared Gooden. Carlston Harris won this fight. It was a very risky first round from both of them, both guys landing massive shots on each other. Very, very sloppy, I'll say as well, because they were missing a whole bunch of shots, landing a couple of shots here and there, but the way Carlston Harris was throwing punches in that round was absolutely ridiculous. He's very lucky to have survived that first round. In round 2 and 3, though, he managed to get his takedowns, and that was the story of the fight. Once he got those takedowns in round 2 and 3, he dominated the rest of those rounds, staying on top position and doing what he needed to do to win, constantly taking down Jared Gooden if Gooden got back up to his feet. Carlston Harris did something that Merab Dvalishvili's never heard of, which was establishing a dominant position with a takedown, which was maybe his mistake. Maybe all people need to learn from Merab Dvalishvili and start not achieving in any area other than cardio and pace. But great job by Carlston Harris. Not the best of performances, but Jared Gooden was 7 pounds heavier, so it is what it is. We move on to another fight up the card, which was Bruno Silva versus Tyson Nam. I picked Bruno Silva to win, and he got the job done. Very good performance from him. Wicked finish in the second round. He definitely deserves this performance bonus for his win. Because, yeah, great fight early on. Both guys landing decent shots. Bruno Silva getting the better of things on the feet, but I know some people might have thought maybe Tyson Nam won that round because he was swinging really heavy at Bruno Silva, but I thought Bruno Silva won the first round by picking at Tyson Nam, landing those calf kicks early on, landing a bunch of good shots on Tyson Nam. And in round 2, Bruno Silva did what he did. Front kick to the face. Not even the face. Front kick right under the chin of Tyson Nam. Perfectly landed. And he's the shorter guy as well. It was very Chandler versus Ferguson-esque. The way he landed that front kick right under the chin of Tyson Nam. Put him down badly. And then got on top and then did what he did. Waited for his opportunity and latched up the rear naked choke as soon as Tyson Nam gave him the chance. And he sunk it in and got the rear naked choke. Really good performance by Bruno Silva. We move on up the card to another fight, which was Ariane Lipski versus JJ Aldrich. I assumed that because JJ Aldrich was able to take down Erin Blanchfield twice, who's the best grappler in the flyweight division, and just completely steamrolled Jessica Andrade. Erin Blanchfield is the best grappler in the entirety of the women's flyweight division. I thought that because JJ Aldrich was able to take her down twice in 2 rounds, I thought maybe she'd be able to score a takedown on Ariane Lipski, but she couldn't score a single takedown out of 12 on Ariane Lipski. Very Merab Dvalishvili-esque, and she couldn't do anything, so Ariane Lipski just outstruck her on the feet the entire time, landed the better shots on the feet because Aldrich wasn't throwing as much, and yeah, Ariane Lipski got the job done over the decision. Shocked me. Good performance from her. She gets the job done. I did not expect that whatsoever. I thought JJ Aldrich was pretty good at grappling, but Ariane Lipski has massively improved and her striking technique looked very good, and she was dominating the clinch, which was a very big part of this fight as well. Big knees to the body in the clinch were a big part of changing the way this fight looked. So good job, Ariane Lipski. We move on. Up the card, Victor Henry versus Tony Gravely. Very good fight. Actually, a very close fight as well. That needs to be mentioned too, I think, because round 1, I think Victor Henry can win round 1. And one judge did give it 30-27, but Tony Gravely got a takedown at one point, so it was like, okay, it was close. Tony Gravely landed good shots as well, so we'll give it to the person who got the takedown. So round 1, Tony Gravely, I don't mind. Round 2, absolute domination from Victor Henry. He put on such a performance in round 2. It was so close to being like a 10-8 round if Tony Gravely didn't have a few moments here and there, because Victor Henry was working his way back up whenever he got taken down, dominating on the feet in that round as well. Massive body kicks, winning in the clinch, kneeing the body, punching the body, uppercutting in the clinch, landing good shots at range, side kicking the body at range. It was just a really solid, dominant performance in round 2. Round 3, fair play to Tony Gravely, because I thought he was going to get finished. He came back and had a really competitive round, but Victor Henry was landing too much. And he also had a good submission attempt as well in round 3 with the knee bar attempt, which was a very big deal. He had 2 submission attempts overall in the fight, and that was one of them. He actually had a heel hook attempt in that 3rd round as well. So overall, very close. Victor Henry landed more and good shots as well. Tony Gravely landed less, but probably more good shots over Victor Henry. But Victor Henry had those close submission attempts and also just made it look like he was winning the fight because Tony Gravely looked like he was breaking body language-wise. So, very close, but to go to Victor Henry I don't think is a bad decision. Good job to him. Crazy pace that he set in that division. Absolutely crazy. We move on. Up the card to another fight, which was Josh Fremd versus Sedriques Dumas. Josh Fremd. Great performance. I mean, we kind of learned that Sedriques Dumas, otherwise known as Boonk Gang, wasn't quite as good as we maybe assumed he was because we didn't really have much tape on the guy. You know, he goes into the Contender Series, he dominates there, he's had 2 wins on the Contender Series with absolute ease. He won his first fight on the Contender Series in 47 seconds, immediately got a guillotine choke, then got one on... he got the Contender Series one, then he came back for this fight in the UFC, and he got guillotine choked. But we haven't seen much of Sedriques Dumas. First of all, he's not 6'2". He's an absolute tiny guy for the middleweight division. He actually looks more like a welterweight in my opinion. Second of all, he did not look technical outside of the first few minutes whatsoever. He immediately slowed down, started getting sloppy, and Josh Fremd was way more technical. He was chewing up the legs of Sedriques Dumas early on, really badly, chewing up those legs, and then eventually, in round 2, they both started grappling a little bit. Josh Fremd got a takedown in round 1 and did well there towards the end of the round. But in round 2, Josh Fremd got another takedown, did his work on top, landed a couple strikes here and there. Sedriques Dumas actually at one point reversed it and came up and took the back, but he just chucked himself over the top of Josh Fremd and ended up on the canvas, and Josh Fremd obliged him and latched up that guillotine choke and finished him in half guard. So it was very John Jones, Cyril Gane-esque, but in a different position in the cage. So very good performance by Josh Fremd, and Sedriques Dumas just got kind of exposed. Once we saw him outside the first 2 minutes, we had no idea what to expect. All of a sudden, he don't look so good, it seems, and the technique seems to go out the window. We move on to another fight up the card, which was Davey Grant versus Raphael Assuncao. Now, this is strange. First 2 rounds, you could argue that they were close. I was leaning towards Assuncao, though, because although Davey Grant was doing a little bit better on the feet with his strikes, he wasn't landing anything too crazily clean on the feet, and Assuncao was getting position, he was on the back, one hook in, like he was doing good work. Again, something Merab's never heard of. Establishing a good dominant position on the ground with his grappling, and he was really sort of like stealing the fight away from Davey Grant is the sense that I got from it, by like making it look like he was winning by controlling and having good moments in the grappling, and that would separate the closeness of the stand-up between the pair of them. So Raphael Assuncao, I thought, won the first 2 rounds, even though maybe technically he shouldn't have. I think it looked like he won, and I think that's what the judges were going for. Round 3, again, not looking good for Davey Grant. He lands a massive shot on Raphael Assuncao and hurts him badly. Hurts him really badly. Starts going for the finish, but Assuncao gets a takedown. Davey Grant works his way back up to his feet desperately. Keeps putting the pressure on Raphael Assuncao. Gets taken down again. Puts his hand in the cage. The hand in the cage did not really get him much, I'm going to say, compared to another fight on this card where there was a lot of cage grabs that we're going to talk about in a second. It didn't really get him much, the grab in the cage. But they took a point immediately from Davey Grant. Immediately took a point where they didn't take any points for any other fighters that were maybe doing a lot more fouls on the same card. But they took a point immediately from him, which was very, very unfortunate for him. And he immediately put the pressure on. Now, there was a controversy about whether or not the ref should have put them back in the same position. But because Davey Grant was out of the takedown, technically, and wasn't on bottom position when he initially did the cage grab, they didn't put them back on bottom because Grant was actually on his way out of the takedown when he actually put his hands in the cage. But yeah, once that point was taken, Davey Grant went crazy, swinging massive shots, putting the pressure on Assuncao. Rocked him badly, dropped him badly. Assuncao shoots in whilst rocked, tries to lift up Davey Grant, and Davey Grant pulls off, I believe, an inverted triangle from bottom side control. Craziness from Davey Grant. Amazing win for him. Gets his win bonus, and Assuncao retires. Very unfortunate for Assuncao, legend of the sport. He will be missed, ish. But yeah, great performance from Davey Grant. He gets the triangle. Good stuff from him. We move on. Up the card, Carl Williams versus Lukasz Brzeski. Carl Williams got the takedowns, and he got a knockdown in round 2 as well. Somehow he got a 10-8 round in round 2. I guess it was dominant-ish with the knockdown, I guess. But yeah, it was just Carl Williams using his grappling to win. I did know he had grappling, but I thought Lukasz Brzeski was able to I thought he was going to be able to push through that and put the pace on Carl Williams. But Carl Williams was just able to out-technically grapple him the whole fight through, grab at the ankles, lift him above the head of Lukasz Brzeski so he couldn't get his feet under him as often as he wanted to. And he did have some moments where you thought, hang on, here's where Brzeski's going to come back and make a statement, but both of them were exhausted after about 4 minutes in the first round. And once Carl Williams set the tone at the start of the second by knocking him down and hurting him, it was just his way the entire way for the rest of the fight. So, not a great performance from either of them, but Carl Williams got the job done. It's just heavyweights not going to a first round KO, so not often are there good performances once you leave the first round in the heavyweight division, but good job to Carl Williams. He got the job done. We move on up the card to another fight, which was Vitor Petrino versus Anton Turkalj. Now, worst technical and IQ decision-making fight I've seen in a very long time. Unanimous 30-27 is an interesting scorecard because I believe that Anton Turkalj could have arguably won the third round and could have arguably won the second round as well. So very strange that all of them on every single round went to, Vitor Petrino, because I thought it could have been like a split decision to him. I did think he won because he ended strong in some of the rounds, but my God, the decision making in this fight. So round one, Anton Turkalj gets really badly hurt towards the end of it. It's pretty even. Not much is happening. He gets taken down, but then he works his way back up to his feet. But then he starts scrapping in the pocket with Vitor Petrino. And he's got a good chin, because any lesser chin would have been KO'd by those shots. And he gets hurt badly. And he starts backing up, keeps getting hurt badly, gets dropped. He up kicks Vitor Petrino and hurts him with the up kick in round one as well, right on the chin, and Vitor Petrino's legs buckle, and he sort of falls into full guard on Anton Turkalj. So round one to Vitor Petrino. I didn't think it was a 10-8 though. Round 2 and 3, the decision making from Anton Turkalj and the cheating from him as well, which we need to get into. Petrino was winning by following the mistakes of Anton Turkalj, pretty much. Turkalj was getting like a good sweep for a takedown and dragging Petrino down to the canvas here and there. You could see both of them were gassed out, but Petrino was a little bit more gassed out. But Anton Turkalj was just making such bad mistakes in the jiu-jitsu department. It was actually terrible. Be Merab. Don't even try and establish a dominant decision. Just keep getting takedowns if you can. I don't see the point. Be an Anthony Hernandez for the middleweight division. Like, he kept trying to go for the back and ended up getting reversed and not locking up the body triangle and then going for like an arm in guillotine and falling off the top. Like, it was just such bad decision making. And then when they were on the feet, he should have been staying at range, popping a jab, leg kicking, but no, he was just there swinging in the pocket with Vitor Petrino, and at one point he ended up winning in the pocket with Vitor Petrino and hurting him in round 2, which is why I gave Anton Turkalj round 2, because he did look like he hurt Vitor Petrino for a second. And in round 3, again, Anton Turkalj winning the majority of the positional control, not positional control, but winning the majority of the scrambles, but then getting out scrambled. So not the scrambles. He was getting the position, but then losing the position consistently throughout the fight. It was crazy to watch. Absolutely crazy. The amount of reversals that Petrino got in that fight because of Turkalj not putting a hook in when he needed to, trying to go for mount in the middle of a 50-50 when instead he should have just stayed on the back and locked up the body triangle. Like, there were so many mistakes that he made in that fight, and also Petrino made a bunch of mistakes as well. So they got fight of the night. Good for them. But man, that was a sloppy, bad performance from both. We move on up the card to another fight, which was Mario Bautista versus Guido Cannetti. I went with Mario Bautista by a first round rear naked choke, and he got the job done by a first round rear naked choke. Pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. He got the job done by a first round rear naked choke. Good for him. Dominated Guido Cannetti. Took him down early on in the fight. Struggled, then took him down again and got some good control time. Landed a couple of shots on top. And then all of a sudden, Guido Cannetti gets a takedown on him to reverse and ends up in a good position. And then Mario Bautista just sort of shucks himself up from on bottom position, gets back to his feet, drives another takedown on Guido Cannetti, and just waits for his moment to sink in the back control. Out-scrambled Guido Canetti the entire way through. Reversed a lot of good positions as well. Whenever he fell off the top of Guido Canetti, he would turn around and stuff the head down of Guido and take the back and sink in the choke. So really good job from Mario Bautista getting himself the first round rear naked choke. Ended up standing at one point with it as well. So very patient, very easy for him. I know it was Guido Canetti, but still it was a good performance by Mario Bautista. He absolutely dominated that fight. We move on to another fight up the card, which was Jonathan Martinez versus Said Nurmagomedov. I thought Said should have won. I don't think it was a terrible robbery. I just rechecked one of those last two rounds, both of the last two rounds, should I say. First round, no doubt about it, is Said Nurmagomedov's round, but it sort of looked like he was slowing down towards the end of it, so I get how people would say, oh, but I don't know. But round one was pretty clearly Said Nurmagomedov. He landed the better shots, body kicks, head kicks, leg kicks of his own. Jonathan Martinez was landing a lot of good leg kicks, though, throughout the fight, especially in the second and third round. So that was very impressive. I thought round two could go Said's way, because I thought even though Jonathan Martinez was pushing him up against a cage, Said was landing more total strikes in those positions. He landed 101 to 78 and 47 to 38 on significant strikes as well. And in round two, he had the submission attempts. You know what I mean? He was going for stuff. He was winning the grappling exchanges. He was getting takedowns in the first place. So I thought he was going to win that round. And he was also landing really good shots on the feet that could have KO'd Jonathan Martinez. You know, like little switch kicks to the head, little front kicks to the face, little check hooks as he's coming in. So I thought, yeah, they were going to go with Said Nurmagomedov. Even round three, I guess the argument is, do you give it to the armbar that could have finished the fight in Jonathan Martinez? Or do you give it to Said Nurmagomedov for knocking him off balance at one point whilst going for a takedown, ending up on top, doing work there with punches, and ended up taking the back at one point in the round as well, and then just getting held against the cage for the rest of it? Maybe. So it's a question, honestly, over who wins round three. But I think if anyone deserved to win, it was Said. But I'm not mad about it. One nut hugger less. But he's not even a nut hugger. The only fun Dagestani. That's his punishment, I guess. How dare you be fun as a Dagestani fighter? Great job from Jonathan Martinez, though. Very impressive. He looks really strong in the grappling, so really good from him. Really good reversals, stayed calm in bad positions, and was able to outmuscle Said in the clinch and wear him down as the fight went on. So very good job from Jonathan Martinez. Those leg kicks were nasty and led to a good performance from him as well. We move on. Up the card, Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann. I went with Nikita Krylov to win this fight via submission. I think I said decision or something, but no, I did say submission. I remember saying it on the stream before the fight started. I said I think he'd get a submission. This was a crazy fight. Absolutely crazy. The scrambles back and forth in this fight between these two men. So first of all, Krylov goes at him in the first round, just starts swinging at Ryan Spann, backing him up early on, putting him on the back foot, and then Spann starts swinging back, and both guys land a few, and then all of a sudden, Krylov's got the takedown. You know what I mean? And then Spann's pulling a guillotine, and then he starts looking for a das off of that, so he's looking for the guillotine, but it's an arm-in guillotine, and Krylov gets half guard from the position, so it wasn't the best from Ryan Spann to choose to go for that. So he starts squeezing his arm and he doesn't get the guillotine, and Krylov pops out and then he gets in a dash choke position and he can't finish the dash choke, and Krylov pops out of that as well, and they start scrambling around. Krylov takes the back position, lands a bunch of punches on him, tries to get good position, falls off the top nearly, readjusts. Spann ends up taking him down after he falls off the top and ending up on top for a second. No, that's at the end. Krylov still ragdolling him against the cage, taking him down, punching him as he's sort of on all fours in front of him from the back position, trying to open up an opportunity to get a submission on him. Goes for the back take at one point as well in a crazy scramble, and Krylov ends up falling off the top of Ryan Spann, who scoops him up and tries to end up on top. As he's trying to end up on top of Krylov, Krylov sets up a nasty triangle on him. Nasty triangle, so quick, so clean. Spann went straight into it, right into his trap. He latched up the triangle, and Spann had to tap immediately because it was one of those triangles where it was just in. There's no gap in there. There's no Volkanovski looking at Ortega laughing. It was like there's no room other than his head and his arm in that triangle. So really nasty stuff from Nikita Krylov there. The minor. Don't mess with him when it comes to the ground. You know what I'm saying? Pat Barry loves him as well because he's a minor. Great job by Nikita Krylov. Very good performance. We move on. Up the card to another fight. Alexander Volkov versus Alexander Romanov. Again, another cage grab situation, but honestly, the way Romanov looked, Volkov might have won eventually anyway, so I'm not going to use it to justify the entire excuse, but Romanov couldn't get a takedown early on. He was trying for a single leg. Very good defense by Alexander Volkov. Definitely something that he's worked on in his game over the past few years. Romanov couldn't get a takedown. He was about to get a takedown, and Volkov grabbed the cage. And the thing is with Romanov, yeah, if he gets a takedown, he dominates the fight. Like, if he gets that one takedown and can end up on top for one moment in a fight and get half guard on top, you're in so much danger against him. But he just couldn't get it. And one of the reasons why he couldn't get it was because Volkov grabbed the cage in round 1, which was very unfortunate. But the referee didn't see it because he wasn't Davey Grant, so he didn't do anything about it. And Romanov didn't get the takedown. And once Romanov didn't get the takedown early on, my God, Volkov just walked him down and beat him up. And Romanov wanted nothing to do with the fight. Quit. I'm going to say he quit. I'll put it out there and say he quit. He literally did quit in the fight, so... yeah, Alexander Romanov backed up, got hit with a bunch of shots, folded, went for a single leg and just accepted bottom position and kept getting punched in the head. So really good job by Alexander Volkov. Didn't see that coming. He's massively improved his takedown defense and is honestly still a real threat in that division. Once Jones leaves, Volkov's a real threat in the heavyweight division, and this only makes Tom Aspinall look even better. So I'd love to see a Volkov-Derek Lewis rematch. We move on up the card to another fight, which was Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. Merab Dvalishvili won the entire fight, 5-0 against Petr Yan, 50-45 on every single judge. I had a massive hissy fit about it, to be honest with you. I had a massive meltdown because I hate the guy. I hate the absolute inbred goblin that he is. Won't fight for the belt, and I really do despise his existence in the sport. It's so annoying to me. That being said, he beat Yan 50-45. Great performance from Merab Dvalishvili. Yeah, just kept on going. The Machine is a perfect nickname for him. So clearly, Sarah Longo and Aljo, they're in the gym with this guy and they know the Machine. You know what I mean? Not in a Bert Kreischer type of obese alcoholic type of way, but in like a way like this guy's a machine. He doesn't stop the work rate whatsoever. He's not human with this level of cardio that he has. So that's what it is. Merab Dvalishvili. Did he look technically better on the feet than Yan? No. Did he get amazing takedowns that established great control time? No. Did he get a back position or win a scramble and end up in a good position and have a really good submission attempt on Yan? No. Did he do anything really dominant? Yes. He pushed the pace and he led the dance, and Yan had to keep up the whole time. When Yan was going forward, he had success, but he constantly had to worry about takedowns from Merab. And normally, Merab got 11 of 49, and every time he got one of those 11, Yan pops right back up. 49 failed takedowns. If you fail 10, normally fighters are gassing. Look at, say, Nurmagomedov against Jonathan Martinez. If you fail 20, normally fighters are gassing. 30, 40. He failed near 50 takedowns on Petr Yan. And he still kept going. Craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. His cardio is out of this world. And once Yan was constantly having to deal with that, 10 takedowns a round, by the way. Absolutely crazy. That's one every 30 seconds that he had to deal with. Not counting all of the times all of the time he spent dealing with the takedown. That's one every 30 seconds. So he could spend 15 seconds dealing with it and getting back up. And then boom, there's another one 15 seconds later. Absolutely crazy from Merab Dvalishvili. Wicked performance. I hate him, despise him, don't want him in the sport. He ruins it. He's a cuck. Doesn't have his own successes in his mind and ruining the sport because of it. He could beat Aljo, become champ, but he's faking legacy, and it's so annoying to me seeing that go on when in reality when they weren't if they weren't training partners, this would be such a different situation. It's so sad to see a guy become a cuck like that because they don't have a penis. But Merab's got to do what he's got to do. He can't have success of his own. He has to live through someone else, and that someone else is Aljamain Sterling. So Merab Dvalishvili, amazing performance, hell of a fighter, pushed the pace. Jan's going to have to regroup. I don't know if he can at this point because it's kind of mentally demoralizing, the randomness that's happened in his career with the illegal knee that ruined his title reign, then the Sandhagen switch up that he somehow still got done, and then that was a bit rigged because they knew Aljo was going to pull out, and the manager manages both Aljo and Sandhagen. They chucked in Sandhagen as a different style matchup. The rematch with Aljo got postponed, and then he had to step in without any of his corner team, and it was all weird. He had to switch camps, and It was all a weird situation on very short notice there. O'Malley cheated 10 times against him, and Jan had to sort of lose that one, even though it was very close as well, and a lot of people thought he won. And now this with Merab. Sucks to be Jan. Sucks to be Merab. Fucking wicked to be Alja. Wicked to be Alja. Got a guy better than you that would dominate you, that ain't even wanting to beat you in your division, and will let you be a champion and beat all of your tough matchups. Good stuff. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip. I'll see you later. I'm picking Usman next week. I think Leon Edwards is going to win, but I'm going to go with Usman.